I was all wound up. Did you hear me getting my W ready?
Then he false starts to it. Welcome.
Fucking hell.
Get behind
Welcome.
him, Launceston. He needs you now more than ever.
Jesus.
I could just feel that happening. It's so good.
Welcome to the WellPlayed DLC podcast, Australia's juiciest gaming podcast. I am joined this week by the curly whirler, Ash Whaling.
What a title. I'll take it. Thank you.
And the lactose legend, Zachary Jackson.
That's it. Milk's out for the boys. Speaking of the boys, I want to give a quick shout out to Simon Blackburn's band, Ivory Dusk. You can't see that on the audio podcast, but if you go to any of your streaming services, search Ivory Dusk, you'll check out the legends who's...
You'll also love that the video podcast, when you hold it up, your microphone perfectly covers over the S in dusk. So I'm like, Ivory Duck?
Simon is the great man who does our visuals. So if you've seen the WellPlayed podcast and DLC and you want to drink a passion, it's because of that man. So go check it out.
Does he get paid by Passiona?
A passion fruit, a legally nondescript passion fruit drink, if that's what you feel like, looking at the WellPlayed DLC podcast.
Ah, fuck it. I say, go for the real thing, baby.
Oh, God.
It's only Passiona if it comes from the right province.
This is technically advertising. If you feel like a Passiona, I didn't say...
Yeah. They'll really take it that way as well. Yeah,
I'm probably like one of like 38 people in Australia that fucking still buy it. So
there is a third far inferior passion fruit drink. Have you guys seen that? Like you've got the Pasito, you got the Passiona, but then you've got like Stedman's passion fruit flavored fizz, and it's just
what the fuck is that?
Wild. There's more than two.
Well, like you get like the 99-cent bottles from like Coles. This stuff's like 80 cents.
Oh,
not good.
It's like the LA Ice equivalent.
I live good.
He lives well. Lives very well.
No.
I'm sorry.
Soft drinks for this boy.
Judging
For these
your friends
teeth.
based off what passion fruit drink they drink.
Yeah.
Christ alive. Ash Whaling, how are you this week, my friend? And have you been playing anything that is not for content? I'd imagine, I feel like I know the answer to this, but hit us with it anyway.
Actually, don't you typecast me, bastard. I have been doing something else. I've actually been jumping back into the Helldivers train because that game, week to week, month to month, what on earth's going on? I tuned back in just in time to see a black hole has started moving across the game's map, and it has since destroyed a planet, which was reported on WellPlayed. But now, the apparently there's a massive fog wall of disgusting spores moving throughout the solar system, and it's mutating all of the terrible bugs and making them worse. It's called the Predator strain, brought to you by P. Diddy. I mean, maybe not, but you know.
Oh, but he'd endorse it though.
Yeah,
what's
he would.
what's their kryptonite? Is it baby oil?
Yeah, I think it's probably Kendrick Lamar. I think he tears down any rap person. So
hell
bugs,
yeah,
they're not like us. But if you ever want to see if a live service game can work, just grab the notes from Helldivers 2 because they're cooking. They are sizzling, baby. Love it.
I haven't jumped back in since they introduced the new faction. Are they as fucking ridiculous as they were in the first game?
They're different. Very different.
Right.
I think the long and short of it is in the first game they were like, sort of trying to establish peace. They're like, we bring you love, please don't kill us. It's 100 years later, and they're having none of that. They're just like, nah, we're here to completely wreck your shit. So we haven't seen all their units yet, though. They're still a trickle faction. There's only a few things going on, but it's all very, very cool.
They're still cooking. We'll see. Zach Jackson, you point, you click, you do all of those things. How have you been, and what have you been playing in the last week?
Yeah, been good. Been all right. Tell you what, Europe planning is an absolute see you next Tuesday.
Is it just because there's so much of it?
There's so much Europe. No, it's actually because it's fucking expensive. Like, God, I know, things have changed in 7 years. When I go, 2017, yeah. So things have changed in 8 years, right? And in fairness, I did go in at the arse end of winter last time, which was awesome, but things were cheaper. Like we're looking at accommodation that we stayed at in Rome in 2017, and it's like, from a rough guess, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's about $400 for 4 nights, or like thereabouts. It might be 500 whatever. This time,
2017, right? Okay.
2017. This time in Rome, $1,200 for 3 nights.
Because he lives.
Damn.
Because he lives.
Absolutely.
Can't even nip to the shops and pick up 4 nights in Rome anymore. Don't get me started on eggs.
It's also like the Pope's year. What? It's something like that. Something to do with old mate JC.
Because Conclave came out.
Maybe. Let's have a look.
He's got a boom in popularity because we saw him die on the big screen. Spoilers.
Pope Year of Jubilee, whatever that means. I should know because I went to.
Oh, so there's like
school.
A seasonal issue with the Pope as well. Oh yeah, like don't go to Japan when the sakura blossoms are happening. Don't go to Rome when the Pope's poping.
Yeah. Anyway,
I hate when that happens.
So that's what my non-fun time has been doing. Game wise, a little bit more of Silent Hill 2 remake. I think we've beaten the cube ? Can't remember. And have been playing a bit more of Slender Threads review. I've nearly finished, I think, or on thereabouts. Pretty cool. Slender Threads. Give it a quick Google. It's like the new. If Tim Burton made the new Monkey Island game, that would be the best way to describe it.
That's pretty bang on. Having looked at the Steam page,
looking at this image right now,
he's pretty much nailed it.
That's a bullseye.
Yeah.
Monkey Island by way of Tim Burton. Fair enough.
But it's not too bad. But I'll talk more about when I've actually hit the credits. Other than that, looking forward to checking out some Steam Next Fest demos. My boy that goes to walks.
Anybody else receive like 30 emails today saying new game revealed at Steam Next Fest demo available now, and you're like, what?
Man.
But yeah, that's about it for me. How about you, our Lord Chair, Ryan?
I'm glad you've asked. I was away last week because I was in Brisbane going to a wrestling show, which was very fun, very sweaty. But I took my Steam Deck with me and dabbled in a few little bits here and there. I've been playing Keep Driving for review. I don't have anywhere near enough thoughts yet to give you a review chat, but the game is exceptionally charming. It's like a turn-based RPG, but you're a teenager that's set off on a road trip and you're collecting stragglers along the way and giving them a ride, and they give you like...
Keep driving?
Keep driving, yeah. Different abilities and
keep driving.
The enemies... the enemies are keep driving. The enemies are like broken down cars and speed cameras and shit like that. It's got an absolutely banging soundtrack. Zachary Jackson, hello.
In your playthrough, have you had any moments that you've gone, fuck, this really makes me feel like my teenage years when I was driving from Ross?
Driving from Ross.
I mean, driving from Ross is still kind of the same now. Like, it hasn't changed.
Booting up the game and picking one of 3 shitty cars was already significantly better than driving out of Ross to anywhere. So nostalgic, no, because the game's probably better than that experience. But I'll probably talk more about that next week. I've also been playing Blasphemous. I'm very far behind on getting around that. Game absolutely fucking bangs. The art and like character design is immaculate. Also, the game's getting a board game. I think it's maybe £1 now by the time you're watching this.
Groovy.
And there was one other thing that I've completely forgotten. But yeah, mainly it's just been Steam Deck games kind of here and there. I've gotten Key hooked on Spyro, the Reignited trilogy. She played that on the plane. I've been doing the gliding levels for her, so that's the amount of Spyro that I've been playing.
I got that game for my young niece and nephew, and I went to visit them, and they do the same thing. Uncle Ash, can you do this gliding level, please?
Yeah.
So, relatable.
Have you hit credits on Hinterberg yet?
No, I'm so close. I think I'm like 6 dungeons off now. I'm
Okay.
very, very close.
Mm.
The game just has more little surprises as
Mm.
you go on. It's really an absolute gem. I think
Is
everyone should play it.
is there any I don't know what this question is. Is there any particular side character or NPC that you've buddied up with?
Apart from the one that you're kind of pushed towards, which is kind of your main friend, I really like the anti-establishment, like a goth teenager chick who's
Mm.
just like, fuck the mayor. I think she's up to no good. So you go on like little side quests with her to like discover they're dumping like caustic minerals into the lake
Yeah.
and shit. And I don't know, there's something about that that I gravitated towards. So I've been hanging out with her a lot. I can't remember her name. Terrible friend, I know, but that's who I've been hanging out with. Did you gravitate towards someone?
I knew you'd ask me that question, and I regret asking that question initially now.
Yeah, good. No, you've goosed the gander, Adam. Good job.
I didn't mind the. I think is it the ice cream stand?
Yeah, she's lovely. She's really nice.
Oh, like a woman who works at an ice cream
No.
stand.
No. The entire fucking thing just like stands up.
So
it is.
I don't know who to believe.
For context,
I know who I want to believe.
These NPCs will give you different perks and different skills or that sort of stuff. So I don't remember exactly, but I feel like I'm drawn to that. And there was also someone else, but I don't remember who they are. Shit friend as well.
Love it. Terrible friends we are.
Great.
Tell you what, we're not terrible podcast hosts. So let's get into some of the topics. I don't know. It was a terrible segue. I didn't give you the rundown, but we do have quite the episode. I'll be talking about my Static Dread preview. Mr. Ash Whaling is here to regale us about how Monster Hunter Wilds is, and we do have a bit of news to cap off the day as well. But Ash, let's not wait, and let's just get into our main event. You've been playing Monster Hunter Wilds, probably a shitload of it, and your kids probably don't even know what you look like anymore, so hit us. What are your thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds? Kick us off.
I do desperately look forward to re-meeting my children. Monster Hunter Wilds. I've come at the tail end of it about 30 hours later. It's I think I put in my review, Monster Hunter game, like some games you sort of think, shit, I need to put 30 hours into this in order to feel like I'm entitled to an opinion. But Monster Hunter Wilds was like a Monster Hunter game's more like, oh yeah, I get to put 30 hours into this to form my opinion. So it was a good time.
And that 30 hours, just to I'm a jump in little bits here and there because I've listened to and read a couple of reviews, so I've come to this with I
have escaped my Monster
questions.
Hunter prison. Please question me. I'm free now.
Those 30 hours, I'm guessing you're probably past the campaign or the story, and you're now into the end game. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're familiar with the Monster Hunter format, there's like a story which is low rank, and it's sort of like the narrative of things that happen. It's like you play like a modern fighting game, and you sort of got like a story that explains why you fight people one after the other again and again. It's just like walk into a room, punch a guy, now you're beating him to death. It's the same thing. It's Monster Hunter where it's just like, oh no, we need to go help that person. Oh, there's a monster hurting him, and you're like, I see where this is going, and then repeat that again and again. But blasted through the narrative. That took about 14 hours for me to get through that. But then there's sort of like a post-game narrative that you get to do as well. Not going to go into detail on that because one, it slaps, and two, I really am not supposed to, so not going to. But yeah, I've officially reached end game, which means I get to play the game however I want, with whoever I want, and do whatever I want. And yeah, it's a banger of a time. So really enjoying that. Now,
question.
Zach Jackson, long time watcher, go for it.
First time questioner on Monster Hunter Wilds here. Can you break it down for me as someone? Just pretend it's your daughter, and she's like, "Dad, what is Monster Hunter Wilds, or the Monster Hunter experience? Why is there a 12-hour narrative or whatever story, but these games take hundreds of hours of your days?" Time.
Do I have to pretend it's my daughter, or like, are you a secret Monster Hunter expert and you want me to explain it like you're 5, or do you actually know fuck all about it and you want me to explain it? Because it's okay either way.
I don't understand. I don't understand how a game is 12 hours, and then like, what do you go and do?
Sure.
If
So, the core concept of a Monster Hunter game is you hunt
lost
monsters.
me.
Got him. But the best way to describe it is you hunt monsters to harvest their materials, to make better weapons, to hunt bigger monsters, to get better materials, to make better weapons, to hunt better monsters, to get better materials, to make better weapons, to hunt better monsters. And the treadmill continues forever. The whole idea behind Monster Hunter is it's like, hunting's fun, yeah? But like, it's not shooting a deer with a bazooka. It's fighting a bus with a toothpick. That's what makes it cool. But then there's this ongoing loop of you make better gear, so you get stronger to fight better monsters, to make better gear, to make better, fight bigger monsters. You just keep getting stronger and stronger to fight scarier and scarier stuff and feel like the absolute coolest guy ever. Or girl. Or anything in between. Show of hands, who here's actually played a Monster Hunter game before? Big Adam Ryan.
Hey,
Zach,
I have.
I knew it, Zach. You brought my daughter into this to act
No, I'm
as your
not.
proxy.
To be fair, I don't know if you answered my question. I don't know if I've come out of that any more knowledgeable. Like,
Okay,
I just want to know, like, what is the 12-hour narrative? Like, what does the narrative give you? And then,
Okay.
Like I get that.
So
that second bit is the second, like the end game. But what are you doing in that first?
I know.
bit?
I'm describing it like it's an MMO and you just grind, which it's not quite that. But so the whole world of Monster Hunter is it sort of has a hell of a lot of plot points that are deliberately vague, but in a cool way. Is it post-apocalyptic? We don't know. Is there ancient civilizations that predate us? We don't know. All we know is that there are really scary ass monsters, and that there is a group of people who are the hunters, and they are very good at fighting and or slaying these monsters when they need to. There's lots of denizens in the world that aren't equipped to fight monsters, so they are very happy when a hunter comes around. And 9 times out of 10, a Monster Hunter game story is hunter goes to place, discovers that there are monsters terrorizing local people, destroys monsters, discovers deep, weird secret that may have, cataclysmic ramifications to the Monster Hunter world, and basically sets up the point of why you're fighting the monsters. That's sort of the loose thread of it all.
Okay.
Monster Hunter Wilds is probably the first Monster Hunter game in a long time that sort of the vague plot threads that it suggests are less of a wink and a nudge and like more of a full-on wink, which is fun. Do we get concrete answers? No, but instead of it being like, it could be something, maybe, possibly, we don't know, it's more of a case of, yeah, it is, but we don't know how it works, and then they move on, which is kind of cool, because like part of my review actually said like the narrative in this game, with its characters that are very fun to interact with and travel and do stuff with, actually has some pretty cool ramifications for Monster Hunter, likely moving forward, which is cool. But that's the generic thing of it, like the story acts as a vehicle to explain why you're fighting the monsters. The actual gameplay experience that's fun is fighting the monsters. And then when it sort of outgrows its story potential, it goes, cool, go hunt whatever monster you like in whatever way you like. Go nuts. And then you kill them, take their gear. Take their materials, make gear and get stronger. Because like there's no leveling. There's no stat system. There's no talents. There's no skill points. You get better by mechanically improving and making cooler weapons, cooler armor, and getting better at the game. Which I already said. Adam Ryan, big man with a big hand. Go for it.
Hello, Ash Whaling. It's Adam from WellPlayed here. So I have played Monster Hunter Tri back on the Wii.
Oh,
so that's the last Monster Hunter game. It's the only Monster Hunter game that I've tried to play. Fucking mountable. Like I couldn't climb that mountain ever since. I've been kind of an outsider looking in, being like, I'd love to get into this, but I know that they're notoriously difficult to kind of grasp.
Yeah.
I know that Monster Hunter World or Worlds, whichever, brought a lot of new eyes in because it was a little bit more accessible. I'm hoping that maybe Wilds is more so. Is it? Or is it still just like you've got to just keep butting your head against a wall until you get it?
Nah, dude, it's fantastic. So you are spot on. The big thing about Monster Hunter games is that their learning curve is more like a wall. It's sort of like, oh, I see. I can push this button to hit a monster. And then you see every other system and just go, I have no idea what's going on. I tried it on the 3DS. I love the concept. Couldn't figure it out. Even with like a wiki, couldn't figure it out. And you're right. Mm-hmm. Worlds changed it. Monster Hunter Rise sort of finessed it a bit. Wilds is just this absolute buffet of approachability things that just sort of go like, hey, here's Monster Hunter, here's how it works, and here's how you fit into it. So like the onboarding system's better, like it actually introduces things to you. But secondly, there's things like they've introduced this concept of support hunters that are like AI companions that can come out on a hunt with you. And that's a big deal because like if you're a dude trying to figure out which end of your sword goes in the monster and the monster's constantly like legitimately molesting you to death, it's not a very conducive environment for learning, is it?
Mm.
But, you know, if support hunter Olivia is there and it's like, I'm going to hit the monster for a bit and you can figure out what you're doing. Hey, you got learning room, which is great. I absolutely love them. And they persist throughout the entire game. And they are characters you can talk to and stuff. I love those guys. I never want them to go away. They've also slightly changed the combat. So, like, you know, Monster Hunter games is always like you just sort of hit something. There's no health bar. Are you doing a good job? You don't know unless the monster's like looking a bit banged up. In this game, while there is no health bar, the fact that they've changed the actual system for combat to like monsters will get like these visible wounds on them that you can see, and then you can actually hit those wounds to do extra damage, or you can do special attacks that destroy the wounds and stagger the monster. There's a lot more push and pull in moment-to-moment gameplay where you feel impactful. You feel like you're doing something, and it's such a wicked system because it hasn't completely disrupted what a long-term Monster Hunter player would expect to do. Like, it hasn't shit-canned. It hasn't gone like, yeah, nah, we're going to appeal to the COD crowd. Yeah, if you 360 no-scope headshot a monster, you kill it outright. As a player that likes the game, that just felt familiar to me. But for newer players, they now have this sort of, like, micro objectives within a fight where it's like, oh, hey, you know, his ass is glowing. If I shoot that, I'm going to do massive damage. Yeah, great. So, approachability in Wilds... Like, if World introduced a lot more people to Monster Hunter, I think Wilds is the game that's going to really grab them. Like, there's more people playing Monster Hunter than ever before, especially on PC. But I think, like, the people who probably said, I tried Worlds, I played it for a couple of hours, it wasn't for me, I think they're going to get captured in Wilds compared to Worlds.
My follow-up...
Oh, follow-up question first?
My follow-up question... Keep your hand raised, though. I want to see if you can do it. My follow-up question, so... Monster Hunter's one of those series where I feel like the hardcore audience doesn't want things to change too much, whereas people who want to jump on board need things to change for them to be able to do so. Mm-hmm. In Wilds, what is different from a gameplay perspective that wasn't there for Worlds? Like, why, if I've played Worlds, should I play Wilds if I am a long-running series fan?
So I agree with you, and I think a lot of people sort of go, oh, if they make it too casual, no one's going to want to play it.
Yeah.
The thing is, the difficulty is like a linear curve. Like, it's pretty good. So as you get better at the game, the challenge gets higher because the mechanics get more involved because the monsters become scarier. So that's sort of the big thing. Like, when you're beating up, you know, the Licky Frog, who's the first guy, and then like 30 fights later, you're fighting like literally a lightning ape that's basically Super Saiyan Goku. There's a lot of middle ground in between that where you're improving skill-wise, you're improving gear-wise and stuff like that. There's quite a decent amount of endgame stuff in Wilds that I think at this point have been revealed, so it's okay, I can mention some of it, but like there's different variants of monsters that means that like, yes, just because you've beaten Garfield the Lasagna Destroyer 13 times... It doesn't mean you can go and destroy Tempered Garfield the Lasagna Destroyer, you know, or Frenzied Garfield the Lasagna Destroyer. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't dare assume that. So
no, but it's pretty good to make sure that like the guy that you beat at the start of the game, when you see him 15 hours later in high rank, it's a bit more full on and like, you know, different environments. A big thing about Wilds is obviously that the environments have weather. So maybe now you're forced to fight this guy during a sandstorm, and during a sandstorm, other scary shit comes out. So it's not just him, it's the environment that you're dealing with as well. So it's really cool. There's like a lot of moving parts that just mean that it's not just you punching a T-Rex in the face. There's a lot of other stuff going on to make it more interesting.
And I know that Rise, which was the one on the Switch, had like the zip line, right? And a lot of people were big on that, and they had the
wire bug, baby.
Yeah. So do they have the wire bug, or is there like an alternative? What's your mode of transportation?
Well, you ride around on a raptor called a secret, but to mention the Y-Bug's not in Wilds, but there's like a whole bunch of mechanics that's just basically Y-Bug, but not Y-Bug. You can
Okay,
still
cool.
grapple onto something and swing around. You can still climb. You can still pull stuff. But like the big Wirebug arts that used to make you do special things with your weapons, they're not present in that format. But like some of the moves are still there, and you can use them.
Yeah.
So they've sort of
Cool.
said Wirebug was cool. Here's 70% of it.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, all right, cool. Zach Jackson, I'm so sorry that I interrupted you before, but you did have your lovely muscular arm raised. Do you still have a question?
Yeah.
So my question is, if I'm a first-time player, what game is similar to this? Like, what would you say it's like The Witcher? Would you say it's like, I don't know, whatever else?
It's such a good question because it's a very, very difficult answer. Like, honestly, the closest thing you'll probably find is like Cabela's Big Buck Hunter in the sense that you are a person going out to kill a thing. But that's kind of the funny thing that Monster Hunter is like somebody looked at Cabela's Big Buck Hunter and said, wouldn't it be cool if the deer breathed fire? Wouldn't it be cool if the deer was the size of a bus? Wouldn't it be cool if you're not allowed to have a shotgun, you get a sword? And that's pretty much what Monster Hunter is. It's you as a puny dude with a weapon that's not, it's, don't get me wrong, it's massive, but it's not a bazooka, fighting a turkey that can, literally step on you and kill you.
If there was a sword contest between your Monster Hunter guy and Cloud, or that big guy, that guy from Final Fantasy, who's got who's got the biggest sword?
I mean, is it length or girth? I mean, if you're a longsword user in Monster Hunter, you can pretend you're Sephiroth with like, silly sword. But if you talk about old mate Cloud with his Buster Sword, I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's at least one Monster Hunter game where you just wield literally the Buster Sword. So.
But I mean,
Much
what?
of a muchness.
Cloud just inherited his sword off a mate. The Monster
True.
Hunter folks had to fucking like kill a Tyrannosaurus to craft it. You know?
Yeah. Do you know the behemoth from Final Fantasy was actually in Monster Hunter Worlds?
Son of a bitch. There you go.
Yeah, they did a crossover. It was wicked.
Yeah, right. But it sounds, Ash, like you're fairly high on Monster Hunter Wilds. Is there anything that didn't quite take to your palate?
I'm pretty sure the only sort of negative point I made, like performance was really good, but I think it can be optimized. But I don't think it wasn't something worth mentioning. Like I feel like I'm just one driver update away from being everything perfect. But it's the social aspect of the game is the best it has ever been for like a Monster Hunter game, but it's still like bang average. Like you used to like games like drop in, drop out, multiplayer, and lobbies are so easy. Everything in Monster Hunters, it's just like it feels like the game was never designed for multiplayer, but they got it working and it's sort of fine. Like, at least like there's better options to quickly join people now, but they're still janky. But it's better than it's ever been, so it's sort of like, yay, it's better. But God, I wish it was like any other game. Like,
Geez, I'm glad you're passable now. Fantastic.
Like I said, like it's the best it's ever been, but comparatively, it's still pretty meh, but it's fine. Like, people are used to that kind of jank anyway. But, sort of my closing statement would be that, like, I'm amazed that Monster Hunter as a series has been around for, like, over 2 decades. Like, I think it's 21 years they've been making games.
Wild.
But, like, the concept of Monster Hunter as it was, like, first put together was so ahead of its time that, like, the actual game itself on modern hardware with like modern resources, it's maturing into what it is always meant to be. Like the fact that they got it working in whatever state back all those years ago on like the PS2 and shit like that. The fact that like nowadays, like I got to talk to, the series director Ratsu Sujimoto, and like the dude is he's just so happy that he doesn't have to fake shit anymore. Like loading screens gone. Yeah. All the monsters actually think. We don't have to, fool people into thinking that a monster's behaving the way it is. It's a series that's maturing beautifully into the modern space. Like, it's just every way that it gets better is just such an obvious way. The environments are nuts. The weather's incredible. Monsters do all kinds of awesome stuff to you, to each other, and just to the environments as well. It's bananas. And like Wilds meets every expectation I reckon a Monster Hunter fan has going into it, and then like tramples over half a dozen other expectations they didn't even know they had. It's so good. So yeah, I hit it with a big 9.5. My review is live now, and there is a video if you can't be bothered reading so many words, but it's a banger, and it comes out in like, what, 3 days? And I will see you there, because I will still be playing it. That's the thing about this game. I love it.
Cool. That was going to be my only other question, is you had to cram to get the review done. You're still looking to jump back in, kill more monsters?
Honestly, the fact that I had to stop, sit down, and write the review, and the whole time I was just thinking, I could just go quickly kill another Gypsaros. I could just do one more Anjanath. Come on, like it's just, come on, Morty, quick, 20-minute adventure, in and out. Come on, let's go. I was like, nah, I've got to get this done. And then when I was recording footage, I was like, oh, I just better record this footage of like this cool place. And I'm like, oh, there goes a Rathalos. I'm gonna go hunt it. And I was like, mate.
Oh, it's morning.
Yeah, I was just like, oh. Yeah, I'm just going to go downstairs for a quick, 10 minutes and just work on my video for Monster Hunter. 2 hours later. What'd you do? It's like, oh, there was an Ursula. I'm sorry.
I got stuck. My only other question, Zach Jackson, are you going to jump into Monster Hunter now, mate?
No.
Wonderful. Didn't think so. The other big ticket item that we have before we jump into the back end of the show, I did a preview for a game called Static Dread. It's the first bit of content that I've actually done on my Steam Deck, which was kind of nice. Made it nice and easy for me to get that done.
Obviously, Google this as you explain.
Well, let me give you the elevator pitch.
Oh, it's that. Okay.
Yeah. So this is what old Daddy Zach Jackson sold it to me on. The elevator pitch is Lovecraft meets Papers, Please, which immediately got me in the front door. Right. I would say that there's a bit of a trifecta involved, and you could probably throw Five Nights at Freddy's in there as well, just a little sprinkling. It's because why not? So it's a first-person game, I suppose. You're in a lighthouse. You've been thrown in a lighthouse. It's vaguely hinting at like there's been some kind of apocalyptic event that's kind of made electronics fairly null and void, or at least like high-end electronics, or like technology as we know it is not living up to expectations
you
anymore.
Get to have a Walkman but not an iPod.
Exactly right. Yes. So essentially lighthouses are now very much in need again. So this derelict lighthouse has been brought back to life, and you're kind of there to run it and guide ships to port. So what that means is, you need to sort out the upkeep of the lighthouse, so like keeping the power on. You need to keep the lights on because they will periodically shut off, keep the generator running, that sort of thing. So that's kind of where the Five Nights at Freddy's aspect comes in, because the Lovecraft will creep in through your windows and try to get you while you're sleeping. The Papers, Please aspect is you're manning a radio, and ships will come in towards the lighthouse, and they need you to plot their course to the different ports. To begin with, that's easy. You'll get a call. They'll be like, hey, shitload of fish on the boat. Need to get to, I don't know, Blackport, right? So you plot the course. Ash whaling.
Does it sometimes end up that the ship is not what you thought it was?
Ooh, I'm glad you've asked, Ash. I'm glad you've asked. So the game will be played out over 15 nights. Again, very Five Nights at Freddy's. Maybe 3 times.
Like 3 times as many, damn.
Anywho. So first night, it's very run-of-the-mill. Maybe there's a little bit of oddness creeping in, but it's very much like just, you're a cruise ship, you go here. You're a fishing trawler, you go there. All of a sudden, it starts taking a little bit of a turn. Like the sailor will say, it's so weird. I thought I heard voices coming from the sea, and my crew are starting to get sick. Cool, no worries. You move on. A little while longer, something interrupts the radio. Because you're always looking out like a small port window, so you can see the ship very far out in the distance. Goes completely red. You can't see anything past there. And it's this demonic voice telling you that the ship that you're currently talking to is trying to bring in psychedelic drugs into the port where your wife and your daughter are. They're like, you need to crash the ship. Send them directly into like a cliff face. Luckily, you're given a few different options. Police get involved. It's a whole big thing, right? And so this is where the papers, please element starts creeping in, where you need to start making decisions based on unreliable information and just your own deduction as to whether you should lead them to the port that they're saying they need to go to, or diverting them off into another course, maybe dooming them.
Hearing the voice of Satan, and he's saying, "Don't let the drugs in, mate."
Essentially, yeah. So over the course of the 5 nights, I had things like, drug smugglers, a sickness broke out, and I needed to start sending people to a medical facility, but the people that were going there were disappearing. There was an overflow, and they needed to quarantine people on an island. And obviously, the people start to get wise to this and start lying to you, and you have repeat customers that maybe aren't so fond of the decisions you made prior. So it is very Papers, Please. It's got an exceptionally cool art style as well. Everything's really crooked and kind of off kilter. You never feel at ease, that's for sure. And while you're in the lighthouse, the spooks do tend to creep in as well. So the lights will go out. If you leave them out for long enough, you'll start to lose your sanity. Over the course of the night, you'll start to get tired. Obviously, if you fall asleep on the job, not so great. So you need to eat. Their resources are very scant. I think you're delivered resources from a courier every 2 days. Otherwise, there's a fisherman you can buy fish from. But obviously, you don't have a great deal of money. You're a fucking lighthouse keeper.
Yeah.
So you need to weigh that up as well. So there's a lot of things you need to balance. It gets real fucking stressful real fast. And it's very tense for a game that you just kind of answer the radio and there's no dialogue. No spoken dialogue.
Is this a preview or a review that you're doing?
This is a preview. So I only had 5 nights. There were 10 more nights after this that I didn't get to experience. But I tell you what, I hit the credits and it was like, here, it gave you the old, this is what you experienced. Here's all of the other things that you could have run into during this preview. It was like a drop in the ocean. So if that's only a third of the full game, very, very excited. So I honestly... Yeah, sorry, go for it.
The next 10 nights is just like... And now, it's all just round the twist from the old ABC show.
I'd love it. I'd have a little fish come out of... Anyway. I have no notes currently. I could see where it might get a bit too hectic, because I was starting to lose control of the plates that I was spinning. So I'm curious to how they balance that out, but very curious on the story as well. It was leading in a cool direction.
Is it one of those games where if you start neglecting, there's things that you could neglect, but it's going to make other things harder, but you can sort of get away with the fact that you haven't kept all the plates spinning at once?
Yeah, so essentially you could kind of get a bit lazy and just start directing ships wherever, because you literally need to draw a line on a map, this is where you are, avoid this island, da-da-da-da-da. You could pay less attention to that and just send everyone to the same port. I'd imagine things will get pretty dicey from there. Or you could ignore people knocking on your door, which does also happen in the middle of the night. The worst one was just a little boy in a yellow raincoat. And I was like, nope, kick him into the sun. Don't give a fuck. I don't care if you're fine. I don't want you anywhere near me. And you have strict orders, don't let anyone in the lighthouse.
And of course, everyone... That child in the chest, Adam went back to playing Lighthouse Papers.
Absolute... I yeeted him. You've got directives. Don't let anyone in. Obviously, everyone that knocks on your door is like, it's a bit warmer in there. Maybe I'll just come in for a bit. Sip on some rum. We'll have a wonderful time. I kept everyone out, and that led to some really, really unfavorable things for those people. Not for all of them. Some of them were genuinely crazy, but others, I think I got one person hung up and beaten in the town square. So... sorry about that, old mate. Wow. But yeah, I loved my time with it. Ran really nicely on the Steam Deck as well. It's not massively visually demanding or anything like that, but it does have a very, very, very cool art style. So yeah, looking forward to it. Is it?
Yeah, I was,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's worth pointing out that this demo, possibly even the one that you played, which I actually think it is actually
It
available
is.
now from the Steam Next fucking what's it called?
Next
Steam Deck
Fest,
Fest? No, not Steam Deck
baby.
Fest, was it? Next Fest.
Steam
God.
Deck Fest.
It's Team Dick Fest. What?
Next Fest.
Yeah, so very cool. And it looks like the actual title of the full game is called Static Dread 15 Nights at the Old Lighthouse, which is a
bit of a mouthful. I can see.
Just call it Static Dread.
They should have just called it 15 Nights at Dreddy's.
Oh, I hate that and love it in equal measure. Is it something that either or both of you would be keen on? Zach, I think you're probably pretty keen.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Very, very keen to check this one out. I was gonna gobble the preview up myself, but I thought no, let the boys feed. So
shares the love.
That's it. I do want to ask.
Let the boys feed at that content trough.
Eat up, piggy.
Yes.
So
you had a question. You dick.
I was gonna say, as someone who's been dabbling in our Lord and Savior H.P. Lovecraft. Don't quote me on that one. But could you feel the love? You know, because I feel like
you feel the love.
Yes.
Like I feel like Lovecraft in such a like. It's a Souls-like. It's Lovecraft.
Yeah.
You know
How
what I mean?
was the psychological horror? Was it measurable in its manifestations?
Yeah. So okay. Actually, a really good question. So physically, yes, I started to see sailors that were saying that they had, trolled up their nets and something else was in with the fish. So they'd fax through, I know, right? Pictures of really odd, like, amalgamation fishmen and shit like that. So there were, like, more overt, it's definitely Lovecraft inspired. But yes, there is also like a slow descent into madness kind of. It was alluding to that towards the end of
I think that's just called games
night.
journalism.
Yeah, it is, mate. Games journalism by night. Yeah, so there was a hint of that as well. Both in like you start actually seeing shit, and then it's also like the dark things that are like preying on you, and you have to try and, are you taking care of your family that are back home, or are you prioritizing helping the people and keeping them away from the deep ones and shit? So yes, there are some overt references and kind of some thematic ones as well. So I'd like there to be more of those, and I'm hoping they do kind of focus on that a little more. But yeah, from what I played, I could see it sneaking in.
It's 10 whole nights to discover all kinds of scary stuff.
I'm honestly, I was sweating by the fifth night, so I don't know if I could. 15 nights is a long time in a lighthouse. I mean,
it could be one of those games that there might be mechanics that make certain things easier as you play along, as they introduce other scary things.
Yeah, and I think that very much will be the case. But
do you reckon if the game does well, do you reckon they'll do a Dave the Diver DLC tie-in because they love doing that, and somebody will say that there's a strange man under my boat?
I would really, really like that. I'd like that a lot.
A Dredge tie-in.
I think Dredge makes all the sense in the world. Like if you visited the lighthouse and you had to get directions from the lighthouse keeper. Chef's kiss, Ash. Nicely done.
Right, it writes itself. Send me the check. It's good.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. The game's not even out yet. Jesus Christ.
Does it actually? Does it have a date? By the way.
I don't think it does.
No,
it doesn't have a date as of yet. Good work, mate. Thanks. I'm usually in that seat. How is it? Keeping it warm? We have no shout-outs this week. 0 shout-outs. I was going to shout out Citizen Sleeper 2, but Kieran Verbruge already covered that last week. Ash, sorry?
A quick shout-out simply to Alex Broxton, or as I like to call him, the Astrobot Beast, for continuously terrifying me with the times that he gets on those challenge maps. There you go.
It's disgusting. I've screen shared with the man for him to show me exactly the route that he has taken, and I'm like, all right, let me just do that. No, absolutely not.
No, he pulled out his phone and said, "Oh yes, here's me just doing this particular one." I was in awe. It was like a child having keys dangled in front of them, shiny thing. I just went.
truly disgusting. So yes, shout out to the big man Alex Broxton. But
we do have a not a shout out, but it's a keep your eyes open for this. Out. And that is KV has an article going up for Sonic Racing beta or something like that.
Oh baby, yes.
I'm looking at it now in my inbox. So yeah, and I think the great man KS. Well, actually, I know that this is coming because it's in my inbox as well. Has a little preview for Night Rain.
Ooh, oh, nice. We got somebody on a Night Rain. Good.
We did someone on Night Rain. I'll give you. I tell you what. I'll give you a little. I'll give you a sentence.
Wet the whistle.
I mentioned the general accessibility, but I feel a few things could be tightened up a bit more. The left and right hand can be equipped separately, but it's not really marked very clear which slots. Okay, well, I don't know if he's just sent me half the document. That's not a final thought at all. That's just. How?
This secret teaser has just gone completely off the rails.
That is the worst preview I think I've.
And now for all my fans, a quick reading from my upcoming book. Editor's note: you used the wrong usage of the word "there" several times on this page. Thank you.
I think he sent me an unfinished draft because that is literally the final paragraph in the fucking doco. But he does say it should come as little surprise given From Software's pedigree. But after spending 5 hours with Night Rain during the recent network stress test, I'm ready to board the hype train. There you go.
Cool.
All right.
He loves it.
Quick roundtable. What did people think when they were like, "Hey, here's Elden Ring Night Rain. It's quick, simple Elden Ring." What did people think?
Sure. There you go.
Yeah.
It's severely not for me, and I think long term might be damaging to the product. But I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Sure. Good thoughts. I see where you're coming from too, Adam. I had a little nibbling of.
I don't get it.
Taking some of that friendly friction out of the game that I think a lot of people appreciate, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It may not be damaging to Elden Ring, but I tell you what will be damaging is if your game fucking leaks a month before it's meant to release. Let's get into the news, shall we? There are only two big news headlines this week. Thank you, Zach. The first of which is that Assassin's Creed Shadows is leaked an entire month before it's meant to launch, which is not. It's not great. So apparently, some physical copies have fallen off the back of a truck and into the hands of some complete cockheads. Said cockheads have been posting gameplay clips online. Big walls of text. Here's the story, and also just going live on Twitch, which is fun. And just being like, "Hey, here's me playing Assassin's Creed Shadows." Ubisoft, try as they might, they're trying to take all that shit down, hit them with the strikes, get it taken off. It is the internet, unfortunately. So, it's on Reddit if you want it, I guess. But if you are trying to avoid spoilers and whatnot, maybe try avoiding those parts of the internet for now. So
they did sort of hit in the statement that it is not like there is a day one patch. So they said like this is not indicative of what proper release should be. I think they also ended the statement with March isn't that far away. Like just chill out. Did you see how people were streaming it though? That cracked me up. They were like entering it into other Assassin's Creed like categories on Twitch. They're like, yeah, come join me as I play Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Like,
yeah, good. If you know what I mean.
It just always makes me laugh the way that people try and get around that stuff. It's so dumb, but it cracks me up.
It's jeez, this game is just.
It's a hell of a leak, though. I mean, I guess that's happens with like. Is it normal that there's like physical copies out there in the wild a full month before they're supposed to be sold? Is it just?
I'd be. They've got to be made, right? So what? You can't be expecting a big game like this to be just pumped out of a factory in.
Oh, of course. But I mean, like, is it coming? Is it off a truck that's going to like your local EB Games, or is it like a warehouse full of games that are supposed to be sent out closer to release date, and somebody's
could even be the actual production factory, right?
I was gonna so Zach and I
True.
were having a chat prior to recording, and what I was alluding to is like my previous days in the EB Games mines would tell me that these things don't arrive in retail stores until a couple days beforehand, like
That's
a
what I
week, maybe a
thought.
week and a
Yeah.
half tops. So this feels like it's been pressed in a production factory and it's on its way to a warehouse to sit and wait to be distributed.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that window, that's where these have gone missing. But to be fair, we do usually see these leaks when they go to retail stores because there are people getting paid, $11 an hour that are like, oh, fuck it. I don't care. Here, have a copy. I'm 16. Why do I care if my reference is bad? So we don't see these as often, but I mean, people are still people, right?
Yeah.
If they're transporting something they know their mate might like or they might like, maybe they just slip one into their bag on the way home.
Yeah,
Who
it's
knows? I don't
interesting.
know.
I remember there was like a Dragon's Dogma 2 copy that got out like 10 days beforehand, and it was like an unmarked disc. Like they had got it before it had been printed.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was like,
how do you stop this? Like, what is the go that when you install
always online.
a game, it needs to be authenticated first? So you
Doesn't
need
mean
to be
always
online.
It's that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Well,
same
I
thing
don't
that
think not
people
always
push
online.
against.
I think maybe you need to
mean,
be like, once a game is
yeah.
like verified, then it starts the install,
Well,
right?
if a game
Bring
has
back
to
online
do...
passes.
Oh, jump scare. That's not fun. It's sort of that case. Like, if the game disc has to do a date check, it has to do it one of two ways. It has to be the system clock, which somebody can just change, or it needs to be an online check. Then if it's an offline console, somebody can't play the game, yada, 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 yada. I think the big thing is obviously the day one patch. And maybe, like, for the sake of the game not leaking early, the day one patch should maybe be considered essential for the game to launch. I don't know.
I just think there should be some form of, like, I don't know, verification or something that when the console tries to install a game, it has to check back onto I mean, I don't know if this is even possible. It has to check back onto a system, and then it goes, oh, Assassin's Creed Shadows hasn't actually hit the date yet.
Oh, it's absolutely possible. Lots of games did it. To dox myself, I managed to pick up my retail copy of Duke Nukem Forever 2 days before it was supposed to release because it had leaked somewhere. And then I rushed home to play it, and the error message in that game when I tried to launch it said, "You are attempting to launch this product before its formal release date. Please wait until this date to play the game." So I was mercifully saved 2 days of Duke Nukem Forever. I got home and I was like, "Yeah, oh, never mind." But yeah, there's ways to do it. It's just a case of what kind of overhead they can be bothered maintaining to make it happen. I personally am a fan of anti-piracy / leaking measures where they deliberately change some mechanic in the game to make it borderline unplayable. Like, have you heard about what they did in Batman Arkham City to battle like pirates? They just completely shit-canned how his gliding worked. You couldn't glide for more than like a second.
Oh, he just dropped. That's right. Yeah.
And there's legitimately like people who had like pirated the game were just like, how are you supposed to play this game when this idiot can't fly anywhere? And everyone's like,
yeah, it's such a wonderful way of getting people to just own goal.
Yeah,
like prove that they've been pirating shit.
Day one Assassin's Creed Shadows, Yasuke pulls out his sword and it's a wet noodle, like legitimately with physics and everything.
Yeah, I think Big Ant did something like that with like the cricket game. So it's like you start playing the game, and then like, well, no, then I think it's like on the 6th ball of like the over, you just get out, like you just can't move
regardless.
Just morphs through you and hits the wickets regardless.
The ball hits straight towards you, then just bends around and slams into the bales.
But fuck man, you gotta feel for Ubi a little bit here, because
at this point, yeah, it is. It's a bit rough.
I mean, this is not their doing. Like, most of this other stuff has been their fault, or not their fault, but it's come with them.
Like, do you think that there's just such a sentiment of people who are desperately trying to figure out, is the game good or bad or not, that they're willing to like Mission Impossible into a distribution center and just steal the discs?
I would be, I'm happier with that being the case than it just being some wanker that's like, I bet you I can sell these online.
They exist. Have you seen like people who put games up on eBay like a whole month before it comes out? It's like,
that's what it'll be though.
Yeah.
It is. The copies have popped up on like Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Shit,
No,
so,
but I'm saying like that's probably it's not be just some dude who's being on fuck yeah.
Professional syndicate of 007 super ninjas. Nah, it's
how
not.
good though.
Yeah.
But hey, what we've learnt here today is that Zach wants to live in a police state. Anyway, moving on. It's looking like we're going to be getting Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, according to Black Ops 6. Because that's the world we live in.
Such a weird place to reveal something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fucking strange. So a little teaser popped up in a new map in Call of Duty Black Ops 6, essentially teasing something Tony Hawk's Pro Skater related. Later, the official Tony Hawk's Pro Skater website was updated to feature a countdown that is leading to March 4th, 10 a.m. That's Australian Eastern
Do we think
Daylight
it'll be
time.
good?
How good? It'll be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Like, without a doubt, that's what it's going to be. If it's anything like 1 and 2, yes. But also, that studio is not going to be doing it. So
they fucking folded those people. That's the thing that I've got. It's like 1 and 2 was excellent. It was put together. I'm pretty sure it was put together by Vicarious Visions.
Yes, correct.
Absolutely nailed it. That 1 and 2 collection was glorious. So, is 3 and 4 from like remnants of that team? Is it from a new team? Is it 3 and 4? Because, I mean, yes. We had this discussion pre-potty that, 56-year-old Tony Hawk says some weird stuff. His tweet's weird. He's like, doesn't he say, like, this whole new arena's coming or something like that? And I was like, what?
So, yeah, yes. I mean, he has said some really odd, random shit before, though. The man's not exactly in tune with gaming, I suppose.
Yeah, he said, quote, 10 hours ago, Tony Hawk Pro Skater account tweeted out, loading, ... new parks, ... 3rd of the 4th, 2025. New parks.
3rd of the 4th, though, Ash. 3 and 4.
4th of the 3rd. American dates.
But like 3, 4? 3, 4? Tony Hawk's
325.
Pro Skater 3 and 4. Date being 3 and 4. Like it's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. 100% that's what it's going to be. I personally would like it to be Thug because I think Tony Hawk's Underground fucking slaps. But to answer your question about developer, if you go on to the countdown that's on the website, you can see Activision down the bottom and also Iron Galaxy. So that's...
I mean, when they hit, they hit.
Yeah, yep,
But
when they miss...
They don't.
We get, what, Extinction? Was that them? Fuck a duck. Rough. Anyway, we'll be getting something Tony Hawk related early in March.
I mean, it's also Activision, so it's not like they can't be like, you there, remnants of Vicarious Visions, come and share your wisdom. Yeah. Like, who knows? I'm just salty those guys got folded.
Did we enjoy the first? So the first being Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, that collection?
Bro, I went out of my way to buy it. Like, when it was out, I didn't get a review key. I just went and bought it. And you know what? I whacked that sucker in, and I had an amazing time. And then my brother, who lives on the beach, came to visit me, and he was like, oh my God, is that Tony Hawk? And I was like, yes. And he sat down and didn't miss a beat. It's like he was playing the originals.
Yeah, perfect. Muscle memory, baby.
Beautiful. Yeah, 3 million combos in 10 minutes. Great.
Zach, your backwards hat tells me that you'll probably be keen on 3 and 4 because you probably played 1 and 2.
I played one of them back in the day. No.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 the one that had the Superman song on the soundtrack that everyone remembers?
Nah, that was from one. That was in 1 and 2.
Was it? Okay. I know.
Yeah.
3. I think 3 might have. Okay, 3 must have had Ace of Spades by Motorhead in it.
Yes, it did.
That's
where I first heard that song. Changed my life. Boys, it's been a pleasure. Let's move into off topics. Sure. And it can still be a pleasure. It's been a pleasure sounds like I'm wrapping it up. I'm totally not.
Is everybody ready to have a good time? We'll cut that shit out.
Ash Whaling, you have been designated the 2000s Film of the Week man. Bring it to us. Do you have a synopsis? I'm here with my buzzer, ready to buzz in.
I have only one concern, and that is just simply that I'm not here every week, and I don't always listen to the end of every episode. So I have a deep-seated concern that I'm going to say something, and you guys are going to be like...
Mate, the reason that I have The reason I have apprehension to do 2000s film of the week is that happened to me once, and James was like, you dumb fuck. We've already said that, because he's got an Excel spreadsheet full of all of the previous ones.
Does he seriously? Oh my god.
Yeah,
great. Well,
100%.
That we don't have access to, just by the way.
We don't have access to. You can just make it up. Well, that's good. So that just simply means that even if I get this completely wrong, I will earn my spot in the coveted spreadsheet.
I've never seen it.
It's so if you look on the run sheet where 2000s film of the week is a hyperlink, if you click on that, that's where it takes you.
Wow.
I didn't even know
Technology.
that it was a hyperlink.
Busted open.
Knowledge. All right, we'll quickly check.
You don't want to see how the sausage is made, though. People don't care about our hyperlinks.
I see. What? Oh, hold on.
He's done a quick.
Sorry, no, I saw the word dick and I was like, did we do porn? No, okay, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, ready? Here we go. I'm not even going to check the full list, but right, here we go. When South Central Los Angeles sees the rise of drug dealers, X is trained by X of LAPD to knock down the bad guys. But soon his training methods draw objections from others.
Does it have Denzel Washington in it?
Yes. Oh, okay. This is great because he knows the actor but not the title.
It's not Man on Fire, is it? No.
No, but good film.
No.
You're so close, Zach. I can see you.
I can see it. I just can't think of the fucking name of it.
It's right. It's right.
Come on, Zach.
Come on, Zach. I'm gonna give you a visual clue.
Give me.
No, seriously. I'm gonna put the poster into our Discord chat, but with the name removed.
All right, let's have a look.
Come on. Surely you can see it. You can manifest the
Ethan
title.
Hawke.
You're so close.
I've got to look on my phone, otherwise it'll fucking. Oh.
Can you see it?
LA.
Is it coming out?
No, it's not LA Confidential.
No.
LA. No.
LA's not in the title. Okay. Do you want me just to say them?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Training Day.
Training Day. What did I say? Man on Fire. Fucking you.
Man on Fire. Yeah. Yeah. No. Training Day was 2001. American crime thriller. It was actually written by David Ayer of Suicide Squad fame.
What? Yeah, right.
But yeah, it was an exceptional movie. I remember because I watched it on a incredibly bootlegged DVD from Bali that was in black and white with, I think, Indonesian subtitles. Great time.
Nice.
I still really liked it.
Love that.
Can you just for the people playing at home, where can one watch Man on Fire? Fucking Training Day.
So apparently Training Day is actually available on Stan as part of the subscription, so you don't have to pay extra for it. And everything else, apparently, it's like about $4 to watch it nowadays. But being the age it is, you'll probably find it in a bargain bin somewhere. Not because it's a bad movie, just because it's old and therefore cheap.
And how would one watch that film if they don't have a DVD player anymore?
If you do not have a DVD player, you need to get the region-free DVD Blu-ray player available at your local Officeworks. It is amazing and it will change your life.
Good man.
Son of a bitch. Zachary Jackson. We've come to the off-topics portion of the show. Have you watched anything? Have you read anything? Have you done anything not involving video games?
All I've literally been reading is Lonely Planet books.
I mean, that's cool.
What?
I'm going to get my book.
Actually, no.
You discuss yours and I'll show mine.
I will, Lonely Planet for my Europe trip. So, reading a book on Switzerland, reading a book on Romania kind of thing.
I'm with you.
But we'll see Ash Rayling's book first.
Okay, sure. I'll keep this really quick. I was at the market the other day and I found a beautiful copy of Louis Theroux, Through the Keyhole. This is a long-form diary that he wrote during COVID when he couldn't travel and do his usual job of talking to pedophiles and crackheads and murderers. So it's very interesting.
Okay.
Because it's literally called Diaries of a Grounded Documentary Maker. Are you guys familiar with Louis Theroux?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Amazing documentarian who's like, I'd like to know more about people who do methamphetamines. I'm going to spend a weekend in a crack house and hang out with them. And just because he's like literally a gormless British weirdo, these people who are like shooting themselves up with hard drugs are just like, "You're weird, Louis," and he's like, "Yes, I know. Do you quite like how the drugs make you feel?" "Yeah, Louis." And he's like, "Okay, interesting. And do you miss your children that you lost 30 years ago because of your drug addiction?" And they're like, "Oh, Louis, you're making me sad."
He's a great rapper as well.
He is. His money folds. Remember that. But
It
yeah,
does.
very good book because during COVID he couldn't go out and do his job, so it's him effectively analyzing what it's like being stuck at home with a son who is a teenager and thinks he's cringe. So very good fun.
Love that.
There you go.
Very good fun.
Nice.
But yeah, $2. Thank you, stallholder. $2.
I will say I have been on the podcast train a little bit lately.
Oh.
Been listening to a podcast series called Redacted, which is
what's it called?
No, Adam, it's not the Phantom.
I was like, here we go. We're like almost near the tight 60 mark, and we're going to talk for half an hour about the Phantom.
No. I I've subscribed to that, but it's just they just do comic reviews and nah.
Okay.
Anyway, so Redacted. Is just little podcast series about like declassified information, like conspiracy theories, stuff like that kind of thing. So it's been quite interesting so far. I listened to one episode about Charles Manson and his connection to the CIA, which was actually quite very, very fascinating. I listened to one today about Benjamin Franklin and how he orchestrated
all the syphilis he had.
That and like the America going independent. Yeah, and there's a couple of other ones I've listened to, which it's pretty cool. They're only normally they're pretty short. They're about 40 to 50 minutes.
I was going to ask how long.
Yeah, 40 to 50 minutes.
I like a good sub-hour because you can sort of do something while listening to it. What is it on, Zachary Jackson? Is it on Apple things? Is it on?
It is on Apple. You'll find it on all your your lovely podcast services. I personally use Pocket Cast. I just like to kind of keep my music and podcasts separate personally. But yeah, the Charles Manson ep is actually 2 parts because it's a bit of a juicy one. But yeah, quite interesting. And that's pretty much been me. Yeah.
Outside of Louis Theroux, is there anything that you've been up to or watching or listening to, Ash Whaling?
I have been getting back into Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So
nice. Nathan would be proud.
There's like 17 seasons or something ridiculous. I don't know. I'm only on like season 7, so there's still plenty of depravity to be had. Yeah, it's every time I think they are the worst human beings alive in that show, they manage to do an episode where I go, they really are the worst human beings alive. Yeah.
You'll have to see it.
Anything big on WellPlayed that you'd like to share?
Not heaps as far as watching, reading, all of that jazz. Key and I did recently book flights to New Zealand for the Easter break. So we're going to just go and spend a week doing New Zealand stuff. She hasn't done any of New Zealand, so it'll be a great deal of fun. Yes, hello, Zachary.
What dates are the Easter break out of interest? I actually don't know.
I think we're there from the 19th to 26th because there's 2 public holidays if you took April.
Of April, okay, cool. Yeah, right. Has Easter ever been in March, or am I?
You don't know the month. You don't know the month that Easter is. What the fuck?
I feel like
eat some chocolate egg. Oh.
There it is. Okay. On that
anyway, if you want to enjoy any of the wonderful content from us, you can head over to the website, which is well-played.com.au. You can head over to YouTube, which is wellplayed_au, to watch Ash's fantastic review. I watched it this morning with my cup of coffee. It was great. You wait, Zach. You fucking wait right there. You can hit Twitter, Blue Sky. You can hit up all our socials. We're on Facebook, all of that stuff. Before we go, though, it sounds like we have a word from Zach Jackson.
Well, just to confirm, so I'm not, an idiot on podcasts. So I just did a quick little Google search here. Has Easter ever been in March? And yes, Easter has been in March, although it's not a common occurrence. Oh, I said that very weird.
Occurrence. Can't wait for the follow. It was like in the Gregorian calendar in ancient Greece. Yes, Easter was in March. When did it happen? When did it last happen? I'm curious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wait. The most unusual Easter date is March 22, and the next earliest Easter will be in 2285. So,
Okay. Nailed it.
Fucking, that's the most useless actually I've ever fucking heard. Thank you so much for listening to the WellPlayed DLC podcast. We will be back with you next week. Have a good one.
Catch ya.
Peace.